name is Craig Roggow. I want to thank you for joining me on this presentation today. And I'd like to give you just an overview before we get started. This particular video will have some PowerPoint slides accompanying it, and it is meant to be a summary or a recap of a research project case study that I've actually posted or published, and I'll give you that information where you can go in greater detail in just a moment. But again, thank you for joining me in this presentation. Let's get started. Best practice companies in global strategic management. Now the next slide, multimedia format, is what I was referring to when I said that this particular video presentation is simply a recap of the high points of that study. You'll notice, number one, if you go to the blog posting or the website publishing of this article, you will be able to view the video again, download the PowerPoint presentation, and take a look at the academic references of which I've used to come to some of these conclusions. So that's really the best place to start. Number two, as I mentioned, if you would like to download the PowerPoint presentation of which I'm interjecting as I do this video, you can download that PowerPoint presentation completely on the link at that blog posting. And then thirdly, should you want to go to YouTube, I'm sure you can find me as well. I will be posted there at YouTube, and you can just type in Best Practice Companies in Global Strategic Management by Craig Roggow, and I'm sure I'll pop right up and watch me again there if you so choose to. So with that in mind, let's get started and let's jump right into the introduction of this topic. Again, Best Practice Companies in Global Strategic Management. And let's identify what that is. Well, strategic management is truly among the most significant perspectives for a business entity today, based on our environment that we're all a part of in business. Now, strategic management encompasses literally all operational aspects within an organization. And the exemplary framework for global strategic management has been influential in the success of many, many companies, but specifically on this case study, I'm going to describe two premier companies in global strategic management, which is Walmart and PepsiCo. And it's considerably complex for multinational entities to achieve success without implementing an effective framework for global strategic management. As a leading retail chain, Walmart for sure is an excellent example of best practice companies within global strategic management, and will also identify some of the reasons that PepsiCo fits into that classification too. So with that in mind, let's hit the objects of this project, or the objective of this project specifically. As I go through these slides and as I go through this video, and as you'll determine as you go through my website posting of this, that what I try to do is I identify these best practice companies and why they're classified as best practice companies, i.e. Walmart and PepsiCo. I define the similarities between these two companies, the differences, and I critique them. And then I explain how to implement best practices in general. So hopefully that gives you kind of an overview. For sure though, after you're done watching me on this video and you take a look at my publishing blog, I have no doubt that you will be able to identify what these best practices companies do within global strategic management, define the similarities between Walmart and PepsiCo, describe major differences between Walmart and PepsiCo, critique Walmart and PepsiCo's best practices, and lastly explain how to implement these best practices. So let's start first with best practice companies, specifically Walmart. Why does it, or why is it classified as a best practice company within global strategic management? Well, and it has an exemplary framework for recruitment and maintenance of employees. The fantastic human resource system applies to all Walmart outlets on the globe. And then lastly, operations are streamlined through effective inventory system, and we also see that as technology and how that technology actually fits with some of the different innovative systems which they do employ. Let's take a look at PepsiCo now, best practice companies, PepsiCo. Now, framed across the globe, most notably for being Coca-Cola's main competitor, PepsiCo finds itself always defending itself in that particular market of beverages and so forth. Its success in the United States has been replicated in other markets across the globe. PepsiCo has a foothold in all continents, and this exemplifies the firm's extensive involvement in international business. Let's take a look now at the similarities between Walmart and PepsiCo. The framework used for global strategic management in both firms are characterized by numerous similarities. Both firms have been largely successful in their respective fields, although different fields. They're both in retail, and they both have definitely carved out niches. Of course, Walmart is much bigger, but nevertheless, PepsiCo has done very well too. Now, both companies have an expansive employee base that stretches across the globe. So both companies are they're an international brand for sure. The business strategy for both firms is characterized by a global presence, or again, that branding, which everyone is aware of. Now let's take a look at the differences between Walmart and PepsiCo. They have different approaches for sure towards the implementation of technology. As we have already discussed, Walmart has been very innovative in their inventory systems and so forth. But they have different approaches in that regard. They use employee reward systems and motivational schemes differently as well. And as we'll go into a little bit more detail, they will approach promotional marketing strategies differently. Let's critique the best practices of Walmart. Well, Walmart has done incredibly well in rewarding employees, for sure. The firm has an excellent international management system, and the company uses innovative technologies such as radio frequency identification standards extensively within their inventory systems, which has really given them a competitive advantage among their competitors. Let's go ahead and critique PepsiCo, and we'll identify that the global strategy management framework has various weaknesses. For sure, within PepsiCo, the mechanism for technological integration has really not been that effective. Their main competitor, which is huge, is Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola has been much more aggressive in the innovation side of technology and inventory systems and so forth. But PepsiCo, as a result, has not streamlined its framework for human resource systems either. So that hasn't been one of their strong suits. So again, these are the critiques. There's many good parts to PepsiCo, but we did hit on a couple that they probably need to take a more in-depth look at themselves internally. Now, implementing best practices. It's also fundamentally essential to ensure that the implementation framework aligns with different policies of an organization. This facilitates for the maintenance of stability within the organization's internal and external operations. Specifically, the integration of all stakeholders is extremely crucial. Everybody within those organizations, from shareholders to management to employees, needs to buy into what these strategies are. The use of experience curve would also be beneficial, and a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis framework would enhance the implementation. You can very easily show the cost savings and how the strategic management systems would improve efficiency for sure. In conclusion, the exemplary framework for global strategic managements have been influential in the success of Walmart and PepsiCo. And in fact, that really is the thesis of this particular research project for sure. Now, as a major multinational entity, PepsiCo has a foothold in all continents, as we've discussed, whereas Walmart's strategy encompasses the implementation of modern technologies today and has really given them a competitive advantagement in the retail sector of which they're competing. So I hope that as we went through this very, very quickly, you were able to kind of hit the treetops with me, and then you'll be able to go into greater detail later. And again, this next slide here, the blog posting, You'll see again the blog address where this report is published. And again, it's mergersandacquisitionsstrategies.org/best practice companies in global strategic management. And you can go to that website there. I've given you a snapshot of what it looks like, and you can go into greater detail. If you would like to also take a look at some of my credited academic resources of which I've used, you can do that here as well. But this slide is going to go fairly quickly, so go back to the blog posting and you can spend your time looking at those resources and go in greater depth. And again, I want to thank you all for joining me on this presentation. I hope it was helpful, and thank you very much. This video was produced, narrated by me, and again, thank you for joining me. Bye for now.